Clark County Today is presented by Cano Real Estate. Hire an agent, get a team. Learn more by visiting CanoRealEstate.com. At Peace Health Medical Center, every person receives safe, compassionate care. Every time, every touch. Peace Health is safe, open, and ready for you.
There's not a declaration.
Well, sorry to interrupt you there, Kim, but it looks like we've got Clark County Auditor Greg Kimsey set up on a call, so we are going to go ahead and move into that. So here we go. Hello, Greg. Can you hear us?
Good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us, sir. We really appreciate you piping in.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, we'll get right off on it. This is I'm Jacob Graneman, a reporter. We also have reporter Paul Valencia and editor Ken Vance, as you know, are all here. So, Ken, I'll let you kick it off with a couple questions here to the auditor. But yeah, it's a busy night out there for sure, Greg.
Greg, looking at the early returns that you guys released tonight, can you give us somewhat of an estimate on how many ballots are still remaining out there for your department to count?
It's a little bit hard to do that.
Okay.
But
I'm sorry for asking the toughest question right off of the bat.
I'm a little bit. I spent the last 10 minutes trying to get onto your Google meeting. I had to download the app, and
we're very sorry
in the process of that.
Yeah, we're very sorry to make it difficult.
Everyone's got the preferred digital meeting world.
Right.
Okay, but here we go. So we think between now and when we certify election, we could have maybe an additional 60 or 70,000 ballots to count.
Wow. So far, there's 324,000 and some registered voters in Clark County. You've received ballots from 220,000, and now you're anticipating another 60 or 70.
Yep.
Okay. How many votes came in today alone?
You know, we didn't process ballots today. We did have a ballot count today, and I think we added 17,000 ballots to the count today.
Okay. How about just basically give us an overview of how the process went today? Obviously, we're looking at, we've spoke to you almost daily for the last 2 weeks, and you've been projecting a 90% turnout, which is, an incredible turnout and an incredible Herculean task for you guys to facilitate that type of a turnout in this election. Tell us a little bit about how it went today. Were there any hiccups, or how do you feel everything transpired?
It went very smoothly for us. A big giant downpour in the middle of the day didn't help much, but it just is what it is.
Right.
But yeah, it went very, very smoothly for us here. We had a very large number of people that came to register in person and get a ballot today. That same day registration is a big factor in today's process down here. We had people out the building, down Franklin, down Mill Plain, all day long, and it's definitely the longest lines we've ever had down here on election day.
Wow.
And we're still processing registrations and issuing ballots as we speak. People who were in line at 8:00 p.m.
Oh my.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's very good. Well, Greg, I just had a quick kind of a two-part question for you. Obviously there's so many factors at play this election with the pandemic and a lot of difficulties that we've all heard about for the last several months. I would love to just hear from you kind of what was the biggest challenge as of this point in today, and then on the flip side of that, what was the most rewarding part of today, just for you personally in your position?
Well, the biggest challenge for this whole election season, both you mentioned the pandemic, both primary and then the general election, was creating an environment where our temporary election workers were kept safe and felt they were being kept safe, and that we had created an environment where they felt safe so that they would be willing to come and do the work that's required to process, almost 300,000 ballots in
Right.
this general election.
Right.
So that was, that was absolutely the biggest challenge we faced was creating an environment where people were willing to come to work. These are temporary employees that do it. They're paid for it, but they do it. They love the mission of our elections office, and so we put a lot of effort, a lot of thought, and a fair amount of money, federal grant money, but a fair amount of money into creating a working environment where people felt safe.
Right, right. Very good. And then kind of to go to that second part, the most rewarding element of today for you.
Oh, absolutely. The most rewarding part is to have, all these people that want to participate in our democracy. It's fantastic. It is very, very gratifying when you've got people who are working so hard so that their voice will be heard. And that's been true not just today, but ever since we sent ballots out, people have been very concerned that their ballot's going to be counted, and it's been really humbling how important this is for people.
Do you have a quick historical perspective of when the last time we had a turnout like this was?
I don't. I know back into the 90s, we've never seen turnout of 90%. In 2008, we had turnout of a little over 85%. And that was a huge deal. We're gonna exceed that this year. And I think maybe in the early 60s, John Kennedy presidential race, so maybe hit that 90%, but
wow.
I'm not sure. But
Well,
so certainly in the call it modern history. It's a record turnout.
Most definitely.
Hey, I have one. This is Paul Valizia. When it's all over, and for you and your staff, and I'm talking like in a few days, like when a big election is over, what do you do to celebrate, or what do you do to just go, take a breath? I mean, do you have a big office party? Yeah. What do you do?
First we hold our breath and see if there's going to be a recount. That's the big thing.
And at some point, you're going to have to sleep for a week.
Yeah.
And then after we determine there's not going to be a recount, we start getting ready for the February election.
Right. Yeah. It's just a never-ending cycle there for sure.
Well, Mr.
Yeah.
Auditor, we
Yeah.
really appreciate all your cooperation, all your time. You've been incredibly responsive to us over the past weeks and months preparing for this election. Can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming on with us live tonight. And thanks for all that you've done to make this election such a historic election.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Well,
Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you guys for the good coverage you provided this. I got to give a shout out to Chris Brown, who's just really done a remarkable job of. He knows a lot more about elections now than he did 2 months ago.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you, Greg.
All right. You
Have
bet.
a good
See
night,
you
sir.
guys. Bye.
Are you having trouble paying your utility bill? Clark Public Utilities can help 24 hours a day. Call now at 360-992-3000.